Congressman Joey Salceda has secured another term as representative of Albay's 2nd District. He joins us now over the phone to talk about election matters. Good afternoon, sir. First off, congratulations on your landslide win in Albay with over 225,000 votes. Were you satisfied, Kong, with the conduct of the elections?
Yeah, I think the elections was credible. And basically, I think I did not see any, statistically, because I have a data analytics group, we didn't see any statistical anomalies, basically.
All right, let's leave that one behind. What do you think, sir? Does the next Congress look like? Any dominant alliances coming to the fore as early as now? Are we? Yeah.
Yes, to list them. PDP Laban, based on the COMELEC submissions or COMELEC filings of their parties, PDP Laban will still be the most dominant with 65, Nacionalista with 36. These are winning candidates. NPC, 34. NUP, which declared for Martin, is 33. Lakas, which is headed by Farah, but essentially the mover there is Martin, 24. Liberal has 10. Independent has 6. And basically the rest would be small parties plus, of course, the party list with 63.
Right. So would there be any dominant alliances or even maybe a super majority like we saw, two Congresses?
I think basically the speakership will be uncontested. If Martin wants it, he will get it. And I think the Congress generally gravitates towards a person which has the confidence of the president, and obviously his first cousin with a presumptive president. So I would expect a supermajority in Congress, and most likely, if Martin wants it, he'll get it.
Right. So Martin Romualdez, the former Deputy Majority Floor Leader, going to be House Speaker. What about for minority and majority leaders? Is there any, or are there any names already coming out?
Sadly, in the way, because of supermajorities, the way it's voted in Congress, usually it is the speaker who essentially determines who will be the minority leader.
All right, so a lot of waiting and seeing. I suppose we'll have to wait until July to see what happens with that. But on the recently concluded elections and the campaign season, of course, did you think there were any lapses in the campaign of Vice President Robredo?
I think basically because Marcos started campaigning in 1992. And basically, his full blast campaign essentially started in 2010. So if you read it very well, I think he was able to do a pretty effective social marketing. It was low intensity and basic, but very pervasive. So quietly, they were able to focus the people's perception on the first half of the Marcos era. So basically, those were the golden era in infrastructure and, of course, peace and order. But at the same time, the latter part, which started in 78, when commodity prices collapsed, oil prices went up. When you say the collapse, this is basically in 1977, when the Arab War, therefore oil prices went up, but the prices of oil, gold, and copper and coconuts went down. So basically, we started to see some problems, basically. So the focus, definitely they were able to shift the focus of the people on the first half of the Marcos era, of the martial law era.
All right, and a lot of people are thinking this question top of mind, the economic plans of presumptive President Bongbong Marcos. Any ideas how his economic plan or economic recovery plan would look like?
Basically, I think agriculture will be first. Any president has to, because of inflation. So we have pretty much imported inflation. So I think basically the categorical imperative for the next administration is in the first weeks or the first 100 days is to tame inflation. So the BSP has already signaled that they will start withdrawing excess liquidity. And basically, the threats there is we are continuing ASF outbreaks, avian flu outbreaks, and we have fuel price increases since NATO and EU will implement the full embargo of Russian oil. there will might be seeing some demand shock due to probably resumption of face-to-face classes and rollback of work from home arrangements. And of course, we are entering the rainy season or the typhoon season. So it's pretty tricky, but I think what he needs really at the end of the day is he must signal to the rest of the world that he embraces the rule of law, and he has to install competent economic managers so that he can renew foreign investors' confidence. And then, of course, he has to get a budget, and again, we need some balancing act here. But again, I think the budget priority will be very clear. Again, investing in agriculture from end to end, and essentially value infrastructure for agriculture.
All right, loud and clear, Kong. Now, you spoke about investor confidence. Well, investors have actually expressed concern about a Marcos presidency. How do you think this will affect the Philippine economy, at least in the first couple of years of his term?
Generally, if he doesn't do anything, how do you call that, impressive, I would have expected an 18-month adjustment period, wherein foreign investors who, of course, they hold the money, so he who has the gold gets the rule. So basically, they want to be convinced in real actions, and that will start basically with the appointments of his economic team. So I think if he does have an economic team that is just like Duterte's economic team, or even Marcos' economic team, or Arab's economic team, that can definitely increase or enhance foreign investor confidence. So it is the quality of the team that matters here. So I think because right now, if you look at our current accounts or our investment deficit, we need 8 trillion in foreign investment between the current investment stock and the actual infrastructure and capital needs of the country. So that's a lot. So he has something there, which is we can do a 20 billion basically from the FDI liberalization, like the Foreign Investment Act, the Public Services Act, the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, plus, of course, our incentives package, which is one of the most competitive in this region under the CREATE law. So he has the tools. So, but I think foreign investors, so you can shorten the 18-month adjusted time, basically by making the correct pronouncement as well as appointing people that essentially invite or attract foreign confidence.
All right, speaking of the right appointments, Congressman Salceda, have you heard of any possible individuals being floated to be part of Marcos Jr.'s cabinet, apart, of course, from Vice President or presumptive Vice President Sara Duterte?
Well, I have a little problem there because, as you know, I was deep into Leyte Rep, so I'm not part of the inner circle. But, of course, these are people I hear around, and I don't know whether you will take it from me. Like for energy, I see Mikey Arroyo. He did not run for office, so I would say for health, I hear Edsel Salvaña, and of course for justice, probably it's Rodante Marcoleta because he withdrew in the middle of the fight. So essentially, he's not candidate. He's not under the 1-year rule or the cool-off period. And for public works, I hear 2 names, basically Alpenco and the incumbent, which is Congressman Mercado, who's the secretary. Tugade is probably the only carryover secretary for transportation. So I mean, but I see a lot of lists that are floating around.
Right. What about former Secretary Gibo Teodoro, rather, who was, of course, former Defense Secretary? Is his name floating around in there somewhere?
No, because he's subject to the 1-year cool-off period because he ran as a sports senator.
Right. All right.
Unlike Marcoleta, who withdrew.
All right. Very good point, Congressman Salceda, as usual. Thank you so much for your time and your insights.
Thank you very much, Sean, and thank you also for congratulating me.
Thank you, sir, and looking forward to the work you will do in Congress. Albay 2nd District Representative Joey Salceda on the phone. Thank you, sir.